Hello, thanks for stopping by. Today I'm going to teach you how to begin the process of creating the walking bass line. With me right here is my double bass, as most of the time the walking bass line is on the big bass. So let's get right into it. So you've probably heard something like what I just played for you at the beginning of the video and wondered what exactly is going on and how bass players are able to spontaneously create such amazing lines seemingly effortlessly. Well, I'd like to show you how you can start on your way to that path with this video. First of all, what exactly constitutes a walking bass line and what is its purpose? Well, the walking bass line is a fundamental part of jazz and really music as a whole. The bass gives foundation and structure upon which the harmonic and melodic instruments can really shine. So the simple definition of a walking bass line is the connection of chords in a piece of music, for our purposes, jazz. So for us to start making music, we're going to use the standard form of the jazz blues as our sandbox in which we can explore the many possibilities of the walking bass line. Okay. So for the walking bass line, we're going to be, as I said, using the blues, and we are going to be doing it in the key of F, as I did in the intro to this video. So first we need to memorize the pattern of the blues. So we're going to be using the one with the turnaround in it, which is, I'll get onto that in a minute. So let's just go through the quick form of the blues in its chord changes, or its chords. So we start off with one measure of, in this case, we're playing it in the key of F. We start on the 1 chord, so that is F. And that's for one measure, and then we go to B flat, the 4th of F. For one measure, then we go back down to F, and then for one measure, and then another measure of F, so 1, 1, and then we go back to B flat, the 4, for 2 measures, 4, 4, and then we go back to F, 1, and then we go to the 6th, D, and then the 2, G, and then to the 5, C, and then those were all one measure apiece, and then we go half measures for the next ones. 1, 6, 2, 5, 1, and then that last one is the repeat of the pattern. So I'm going to have up the little chart of the common standard blues progression, and you can look at that. Feel free to screenshot it and save it so that you can run over that and memorize it, and then come back and watch the rest of this video. So now we're going to get onto the bass line. So the bass line essentially just connects multiple chords to each other. So for example, let's take the first and second measure of F to B flat. How we're going to connect those? In the chord progression, you may have seen they're not just F and B flat and D and G and C and F. They've got some markings next to them, and if you're new to jazz, you might not know what those are. If you already have some jazz experience, so a 7 next to a chord. So the first chord is an F7. That was the 1, the 3, and the 7. The 7 means that you're going to take the major scale of whatever chord it is, whatever the big letter is, and then you're going to take the 7th scale degree and lower it by half a step. So the 7th in F major, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. E natural becomes E flat, and that's how we get the Mixolydian scale. So if you've ever heard like modes of the major scale thrown around before, but you're like, what does that mean? Mixolydian is the fifth mode of the major scale, and I'm not going to go into modes right now, but feel free to look them up. You can find many great resources for that anywhere on the internet. But essentially, all you need to know for seventh chords, also known as dominant chords, dominant 7, or just seventh chords, is that the seventh is going to be flatted to, in this case, E flat. So then the F Mixolydian scale would go F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E flat, F. So now we have a scale which we can work with to get to our next chord. So if we think about the space between F and B flat, it's a fourth. So 4, 1, 4. Well, how many beats do we have in a measure? We have 4 beats in what we're doing is in 4/4, and most blues is going to be in 4/4. So we have 4 beats to connect from F to B flat. So the most common connection you're going to see is one of 3. So this first one, going a fourth ascending, we're going to use what's called diatonic encirclement. So that's kind of a big word. What does it mean? So the first part, diatonic, that means within the key or within the tonics key. So within the key of F dominant, so the dominant just means there's that flat 7 in there. Within the key of F dominant, we are going to then encirclement, we're going to encircle the target note, which is B flat. There we go. So how are we going to do that? We're going to go F, this is the first beat, 1, 2 is G, 3 is A, 4 is B flat? Wait, no, but we landed on the 4th beat of the measure. So we can't do that, so that's why it's encirclement. So 1, 2, 3. We go above the B flat to C to land on B flat on the first beat of the second measure. So that's going to be one of the ways we're going to connect chords in these beginning stages before you can get complex. Okay, so then for the second measure, we're going to be going from B flat to F. Either F. And really, I'm going through this as if there's a real structure, but the beauty of the bass line is how unstructured it is. You are free to do whatever you want as long as you're providing a solid bass line, to use the words. You're doing your job. And anyways, so take everything I say with a grain of salt and really experiment on your own to see what sounds best to you. But anyways, so going from B flat to F, we're going to use what's called a walk because it is a 5th above or a 4th below. So we're going to be going B flat within the key of B flat. So now we're on B flat 7. So we've got an A flat. That is now the dominant 7 is that A flat, whereas in a normal B flat major scale, it would be A natural. It's now A flat. Anyways, within the B flat Mixolydian scale, we're going to go up to F, and so we have 4 beats to get there. So we landed right on it. So that's just called a walk, and you can go down. But notice what I did there. That was diatonic encirclement, like we did before. And why is that? That's because from B flat to F, going up, is a fifth. But going down, so going up, B flat, up to this F, up here, that's a fifth. Going from this B flat down to the low F, that's a fourth. So just think, whenever you're doing a fourth, you can use diatonic encirclement. If you're doing a fifth, then you can use a walk. So going from B flat down to F, you can go. And notice how I didn't quite use all of the diatonic notes of B flat. I used of B flat dominant. I used an A natural, just the open A. So I went B flat, A, but wait, I just told you a minute ago that in a dominant 7 chord, there's an A flat in there, not an A natural. Well, again, you're kind of free to break the rules sometimes. And in this case, it would be okay to play an open A. Now, of course, the perfect version would be for you to go B flat to A flat, then to G, and then E flat to F. The bass doesn't go to E flat unless you detune. So I'm using E natural in a B flat chord. That's also pretty weird, but again, it's more about the notes that you land on than how you get there. That's the kind of main point I'm trying to convey here. Anyways, so now we're down back to F. Then you can use a variety of methods to get to the next F, because our next chord in the progression is another F. The one chord repeats. So we're going from this F to this F. So we can do 1, 3, 5, and then flat 7, F. So that's just one way you can connect. You can also use what's called just chromatic connection. So F, and then you do, if you want to be technical, a minor third away from whatever note you're trying to approach. So a minor third from F is D. So F, D, E flat, E, F would be how you would chromatically connect F to F. You could also go the other way. So you could go a minor third up from F is A flat. So you could go, excuse my questionable tuning, but that's essentially how chromatic connection works. And you don't have to always think minor third. What's the minor third? Just think eventually you'll get that shape in your head and you'll be able to connect chromatically to any note. So now you can figure out how to get from 1 to 4 to 1 to 4, 4, 1, 1, 4, 4, all that. 1s and 4s is your playground. You can mess around as much as you want with that. What I think will be useful is the 1, 6, 2, 5, which really is not that hard. So we're going to use a technique to get to the D. We're going to use a little bit of arpeggios. So we're going to go 1, 3, 5, 7, like we did to go to the F from the octave Fs, except this time we're going to go 1, 3, 5, 7, D. So that connects very nicely to the D. And then to get to the G, we could throw in some chromatic here. So D, B flat, A flat, G. So that's already using arpeggios and chromatic connection. So then to get from G to C, I want you to use your thinking brain and think, okay, if we're going from this high G, descending to this C, what kind of interval that is. And it's one we've already talked about. So it's like going from an F to a B flat, descending or ascending. Okay, it's a fourth ascending, fifth descending. So basically, what does that mean? So if we're going from this G, open string G, to this C down here, that means we can use a walk because it's descending and it's a perfect fifth. So there's that. We use the key of G, a G major. We didn't use the flat 7. Again, it's nice to hit those in your lines. Not always necessary. You can just use a major scale sometimes. If I wanted to use the Mixolydian scale, I would go, and that would probably sound better sometimes. In other contexts, it wouldn't. So that's just how you need to think about how you're going to do that, and get around those chord changes. So now we're on our final, our 5 of the 1, 6, 2, 5. So now we need to connect the 5 to the 1 chord. And what is that distance? Well, it's an ascending fourth, descending fifth, just like the last chord change was from G to C. From C to F is the same. So it's a descending fifth, ascending fourth. So we could either go from this C to this F, or from the C to this F. Of course, there's many more options. I'm making this concise as this is designed for beginners. I may be coming out with a more advanced tutorial for those who are not feeling so pushed by this video. Anyways, so that just means we can do a walk. And for this one, I would recommend not doing a major scale. I would recommend doing, because that's diatonic in the key of F. And so we kind of want to make sure that we're, for the most part, staying diatonic to the key which we're playing in, which is F. For the most part. You're going to go out of it sometimes, and that's okay. That's kind of what jazz is like. You're kind of always pushing the boundaries and getting better, and changing things. So anyways, so congratulations. You made it through the first chorus of walking bass line. So essentially, I just kind of gave you some tools with which you can use to connect chords in your bass lines. So let's recap those real quick. The first is the diatonic encirclement. So going from a 1 to a 4, ascending. You're going to go 1, 2, 3, above to the 5th, and then drop back down to the 4th. For a 5th ascending or a 4th descending, because they're opposites, whether you're ascending or descending. For a 5th ascending, so going from B flat to F, you're just going to use a walk, which just means just go up the scale. So, and then for chromatic connections, let's say we're going from the 2 to the 5 in this progression. So guess what that is real quick? It's G to C. Yep. So this is at the end of the turnaround, which is that 1, 6, 2, 5. I mentioned turnaround at the beginning, but I don't think I explained it. 1, 6, 2, 5 is the turnaround. So that sounds like this. It just makes you want to go home, right? Like, 1, 6. It's just boom, and that's because of the 2-5-1 at the end. So that's a sound you're going to hear a lot in jazz, and you better memorize it. How it sounds, how it looks. It's going from the minor 2 to the dominant 7 or dominant 5 chord to the major 1 chord, major 7 1 chord, which I explained in my 2-5-1s theory video, which I'll have right up here for you to check out and learn a bit more about music theory 2-5s. Anyways, so we could use diatonic, or excuse me, a chromatic connection to get from G to C. So G, and then a minor third down, probably because we're ascending to this C. We're going to use chromatic connection up instead of going, which could still sound good in some contexts, but we're going to go G, A, B flat, B, C, and that's chromatic connection, and then arpeggios. So if, say we want to get from the 1 to the 6, F, A, C, E flat, D. So I just went 1, 3, 5, 7, which on a dominant 7 chord is flat, down to the 6. And you can use that for octaves, you can use that for all kinds of things. So that's pretty much the basics. This is a little bit of a long video, I apologize, but hopefully that kind of gives you a good synopsis of what a walking bass line really entails. Of course, there's way more to it than what I was able to fit in this short video. The bass line that I played in the beginning was a transcription of the bass line that Paul Chambers played in Whims of Chambers on the original recording, and it's incredible, really. And you just need to really just practice what I've said here, and then listen and learn and transcribe, and just have fun, because that's what jazz is all about. And if you're not having fun, what's the point in doing it? And that goes for everything. So anyways, I hope this little video helped. Again, sorry, it kind of is running long now, but I hope you got something out of it. If you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to answer any lingering questions you may have. So with that being said, I hope to see you in my future videos, and have a good day.